Okay, I hadn't intended to do a video this morning, but I have to respond to something. And against my better judgment, I've just read an article by Yasmin Alibhai-Brown. Now, if you don't know who that is, look her up. In The Independent, and what she's saying is that we white Europeans are happy to take Ukrainian refugees, but not Eritreans and Ethiopians and half of Africa and half of the Middle East. And the reason we're okay with Ukrainians is because Ukrainians are white, and we're not okay with half the world coming here because they're not. Just a couple of points to make on this. She said that white people consider Afghans, and Afghans is the example she used, to be an existential threat. But we don't see Ukrainians as an existential threat. First of all, that's because Ukrainians are not and Afghans are. And let me be very clear about a couple of things. If whites don't want to become a minority to non-whites, maybe that's because of all the anti-white rhetoric. Yasmin Alibhai-Brown, you need to start blaming Black Lives Matter and the open genocidal language that people use against white people. Maybe then we wouldn't be so worried about the number of non-white people coming into this country. They are encouraged to hate us. Many do hate us. And globally, genocidal language about white people is A-OK, completely acceptable. In fact, it's considered an extremist point of view merely to say the words, "It's okay to be white." You're considered an extremist and a fascist and a racist if you say things like that. The language spoken about us now is shocking. That's part of the reason why. So I suggest, Yasmin, you go and blame Black Lives Matter and co. for white people's fear, growing fear of non-white people. Secondly, Afghans have brought a catastrophic crime wave to Europe. They're among the worst behaved demographic group on this continent. Their crimes include vicious, brutal rapes and murders. So yes, we don't want any more Afghans coming here. You want someone to blame? Blame the Afghans who commit these terrible crimes on our streets. Third, yes, they bring Islam with them. It's not compatible with our society. Ukrainians don't bring Islam with them. Afghanistan is one of the vilest societies on the planet, and it's that way because of its people. As someone said yesterday on a comment to me on YouTube, which was just brilliant, if a country is too dangerous to go to, it stands to reason that it's too dangerous to bring that country here. Spot on. And finally, not finally actually, two more points to make. You mentioned Afghans, Eritreans, Ethiopians. What makes them asylum seekers exactly? What makes them refugees? Leaving behind a tattered, broken, poverty-stricken country that you created does not make you a refugee. Ukrainians are actually in a war. So there's that. And finally, we can't take the whole world, nor should we be expected to take the whole world. Why is it only Western countries, white European countries, that you lot want to flood with so-called refugees from all over the world? Why us? Why aren't you telling Saudi Arabia to take their fellow Muslims in? Why aren't you even going after China or Japan? Japan won't listen to you, you know that perfectly well. Why only white Western countries? Why are we the only people on this planet expected not only to give up our countries, but to subjugate ourselves in deference and apology to people to whom we owe nothing? Nothing at all. They're not welcome here. And one day, Yasmin Alibhai-Brown, Europeans will wake up and take back their continent. I can promise you that.